maybe my example of making this transition into a different career will pull other people from, hey, maybe it's time to, try something different and do something new and have some fun doing it.
Just had the most interesting conversation with Shane Kauzlaric. Shane talked about his Croatian roots, his transition recently from being a teacher into going into manufacturing, and also the love he has for his family and the deep foundation of faith that shapes his life. I think you're going to really enjoy hearing from Shane Kauzlaric. Today I have the opportunity to sit with Shane Kauzlaric. I'm excited to welcome Shane to our podcast today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to getting to know you a bit better. So just tell us a little bit about how long you've been at C&G and what you do for us, Shane.
So I started with the company last year in September. I started as an operator one, decided to do a career shift, and last week I just accepted a position as a training instructor.
Very cool. So career shift, what did you do before C&G?
I was a science teacher. So I taught in juvenile corrections for 3.5 years, and then I was at a public school for a year after that,
Mm-hmm.
and I just felt the need to try something new.
Mm-hmm. What was that like, being a teacher in a corrections institute? Is it challenging?
Very, very challenging. You'd try to find the kind of the needle in the haystack, so to speak. A lot of them grew up in a really difficult environment, so it was really hard to uh, find their motivation. A lot of them didn't see themselves as really making it in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
After they thought they're going to be in the system forever, but just finding the courage to be like, no, that doesn't have to be your life. You can make something of yourselves and just
Mm-hmm.
keep pushing them. Even if they kept throwing it back in your face,
Mm-hmm.
you just had to be the eternal optimist in that situation.
Yeah. It had to be, both, personally take a toll, I would say, but also it probably gave you a lot of purpose, for those that you could kind of turn around and
Yeah, definitely took a lot of pride in the ones that they they wanted to do better by themselves. They looked at you know that they had failed their parents, because of the situation that they're in, and
hmm
um, yeah, it was good to see the ones that didn't come back, because unfortunately a lot of them did, but you just gave them the every opportunity they could
hmm
to move forward.
Well, we're grateful to have you here at C&G now.
Thank
So
you.
when you first came into film extrusion, it must have seemed, very, very different from what you were used to.
Yeah, obviously a louder environment, although sometimes the classroom is also loud at times.
Yeah.
Um, but uh, just seeing how our small town of Rhinelander has real world implications in the stuff that we use every day.
hmm
Um, and just seeing like, oh, maybe I could make a difference in the company itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the products that we make, we use them every day, right? You
Right.
see them in your house, you see them everywhere. So they play an important role in preserving food and ensuring food safety, that we can have food safely delivered to our tables. So it's good to know. So tell me about growing up, what it was like for you, where you grew up, and a bit about your family.
So I was born and raised in Wausau.
hmm
I went to parochial elementary school, went to Lutheran high school. Um, I met my wife when we were both seniors in high school. We actually both worked at Culver's.
I love
Um,
Culver's.
so I see the cheese aspect of the, like, oh yeah, we
Yeah,
we
yeah,
that kind of
the film.
draws everything in together.
Right.
All's full
Coming full
circle.
circle. Yes.
Um, and then after we got married in 2012, my wife's a dental hygienist by trade,
Mm.
and she needed, as we were aging, we needed to find something that had, health insurance and benefits. So we moved to Rhinelander.
Mm.
That was where she could find something that was full time. She could still get vacation, retirement, all that good stuff. And that was in 2013, so a year after we got married, and we never left. It became home to us. Uh, we fell in love with our church family, and I had family up in Eagle River where my parents were from,
Mm-hmm.
so it was an easy place to blend in,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak. And uh, after we moved to Rhinelander, I sold cars for 3.5 years, um, and then I made the transition into education after that.
Mm-hmm. So, do you like the area because you're an outdoors person? What is it that you love about Rhinelander?
So yes, outdoorsy. That's where we spend a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
With like I said, my parents grew up in Eagle River. We travel there often. Take the boat on the water. Our hunting area is just northwest of Eagle River. Um, so I greatly fell in love with the outdoors. That was a big reason why I went into the education field that I did. My background is actually in natural resource management in
Ah,
college
yeah.
with an emphasis in environmental ed.
Mhm.
And then I quickly realized it was difficult to find a career uh, that I could just make enough income to, put some savings away and raise a family. So that's where I got the idea to transition into formal education.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, tell me about some of the sports that you like to do. Hunting, fishing,
Yep.
ice fishing.
In high school, I was big into soccer and track.
Mm.
Um, that was actually a uh, little bit of a regret of mine that I spent more time hunting in college than I should have tried to play soccer in college.
Hmm.
Um, I missed the sport a lot. I actually got into a indoor soccer league up in Eagle River once we moved up here. And it's like, I love that game. So fun to
Mm.
play.
Mm.
Um, but I also, yeah, enjoyed track and field. Uh, Being tall, lanky guy, I had
Mm-hmm.
long jump, triple jump. Those were my events that I like to do.
So it's interesting your comment about spending too much time hunting. What is it you love about hunting?
Um, just getting immersed in the outdoors. Just a nice place to kind of push away the real world, take a breather from the job and from the family and just be at one with nature.
Yeah.
Um, my dad taught me to treat nature with respect, utilize it with, you know, what we can, don't waste anything. And I think a lot of those values come again full circle in terms of your family, your job, especially with the way we're trying to transition as a company, to go more sustainable and
Mm-hmm.
to figure out a way that, you know, being a petroleum based product, the the non-renewable resources will eventually run out. So we got to make sure we take care of the stuff that we do have and utilize it the best we can.
Yeah. Trying to figure out ways to make it come full circle. With the recycling and actually getting more and more into non-petroleum based resins, with plant-based resins and compostable things. So maybe that's an area you can in the future have an opportunity to get more involved with too
That'd be
on the
exciting.
sustainability side.
Yeah.
So tell me about your your family, your wife and children.
So my wife Jacqueline, we've been married since 2012, so we just hit 11 years
Mhm.
in June. I have an 8-year-old daughter. Her name is Raina. I have a 6-year-old daughter.
Raina?
Yep, 6-year-old daughter who's Lila, and a 3-year-old son named Xander.
Wow. Beautiful names.
Thank you.
How did you pick those?
Out of the blue, it's amazing the databases that are out there now
Ah,
to
I
to
guess
find
that's true.
names and
Yeah.
which
When
is
when my kids were born, we had a book, to go through there.
yep,
We didn't have the internet back then, but yeah, I that is a good point. You can kind of Google any name anywhere,
yeah,
right?
all the names that are on TV shows, and it's like, oh, I like that one.
Yeah. So tell me about the origin of your name, Kozlaric.
Yes, so it's Croatian descent. So my grandpa is he was full Croatian. My grandma was Polish. They met um, in Milwaukee, and so that's where that that name came from. It was actually uh, originally the last name ended in ich, so it made an itch sound.
Mm.
And then eventually to Americanize it, they dropped the H and made it an ick on the end.
Kauzlaric.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of the Croatian last names in the Eagle River area that end in
Okay.
that ich.
So do you have any family traditions of Croatian meals that you eat or?
Yes. So there's a lot of like instead of like your typical salad dressings that are the ranch or the French based, it's a lot of vinegar and oil based.
Mhm.
A lot of cabbage based recipes. So like we have a recipe it's called a sarma.
Mhm.
So it's a cabbage roll, and it's got rice and ground hamburger and ground lamb that's wrapped in that cabbage leaf, and then um, basically it's steamed in like a Nesco for several hours, and
Mm, that
that's
sounds good.
yeah.
I want some of that. What about sauerkraut? I know
Uh,
that's a German,
it's
but it's
more
it's kind of a Milwaukee thing, but isn't that cabbage?
Yeah, that is fermented cabbage. We like sauerkraut too.
Mhm.
Um, Another big thing, at least on my grandma's side, was strudel. It's a pastry dessert that you'd mix the dough and you let it rest for a little while, and then you roll it out a little bit, and then the elasticity that's created. Well, first of all, it's not used with bleached flour; it's actually used unbleached flour. I don't know, some type of chemical reaction allows it to have more elasticity to it.
Mm.
So after you roll it out and it's, in a 3 foot diameter circle, you start to just pull at it and you spread it out. It's probably maybe half the size of the table here. So you have it be
Like 4 feet by
3
3
feet.
feet?
Yep.
Wow.
So that's how wide
Mhm.
the dough is rolled out. You put your apple toppings, on half of it, and you lay down first uh, a cloth tablecloth, not a plastic one. So you put that out on the bottom, put the dough on top, put your apples on, half of it, all the cinnamon, sugar, all that good stuff. You just start to roll it a little bit, and then you lift up on the tablecloth, and it rolls itself up the rest of the way. So you
Wow.
end up with a 4 foot long um, strudel that you just snake into a baking pan, put it in the oven, and you have an apple dessert.
That sounds delicious. Do you make this?
I've done it before. Yeah,
Very cool. Next time I come to the Rhinelander plant,
I'll have one ready for you.
I'm gonna be looking for one of those apple strudels. So tell me about like earlier in your life. I know you said you're older now, but to me you're still a very young person who seems like really together,
Thank you.
and that you have, you sort of comfortable with who you are and confident person. At least that's how you come across to me. How did you become this way?
I'd say my high school upbringing was, I wouldn't say it was challenging, but, like, I had to be independent just in terms of how my teachers, I wasn't assisted a lot. I didn't ask for it, but
Mhm.
I liked to challenge myself. I in testing out for, like math, I was usually a year ahead in math. So
Mhm.
I like to just push and work as hard as I could. I was able to take a college course as a senior in high school, so
Mhm.
um, it was just nice to be able to have the teachers that were there to push me to be the best that I could. They didn't, you know, accept subpar, um,
Mhm.
just the assignments, the activities, things like that. They didn't want to just be okay. They wanted you push you to be the best you very could. And my upbringing with my parents, were the same way. Don't do it
Yeah.
halfway. Do
Mhm.
it the right way the first time so that you don't, have to hopefully learn from your mistakes.
Mhm.
Of course, I made mistakes growing up, but I, as like any kid, but just learning from your mistakes so you can, move forward and be the role model for your own children that, hopefully they don't make the same mistakes that you made.
They'll make different ones.
Oh, of course.
That's how we learn, right? If you could go back and have a do-over of any part of your life, would you?
I don't think so. I think that um, God takes you in many different ways.
Mhm.
Um, he doesn't put you in a situation that he's not going to help you through. And I have had situations in the past that I just have to, you know, believe that he's got my best interest moving forward. My career change, I feel, has been an example of that.
Mhm.
Um, I'm excited to see what the next 5 to 10 years of my life move forward.
Mhm.
Um, After starting here 16 months ago or so, um, I didn't picture this as where I was going to be, but I'm excited to see where life will take me. What I can do for CNG. I like to make an impression. I want to make an example that
Mhm.
no matter what you do, as long as you put your best effort forward, you're going to be rewarded by your company, moving forward. And if you are able to make a difference in your company and you can spread the word that, hey, this is the place that you want to work because you're going to be well taken care of. There's great benefits. Uh, if we can grow your workforce so you can have like this family atmosphere, like that's what I feel like I have already at CNG.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like the shift that I'm leaving right now, to go into my new role, I'll still see him, of course, but I'm excited to see what new family and
Mhm.
cultivations that I do bring to the table. Being the training instructor, I'm excited to see uh, what I can do and the new people that come forward. Hopefully, we can work together that we don't have the turnover that we have and keep our employees for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can tell you that you have this, like you seem like this grounded faith is important to you. You're just very comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good. What would you like to see for your future 10, 20 years from now?
I think where the company is going, I want to be part of the next breakthrough.
Mm.
I want to be in the right area where we are going to this sustainability, to this idea that we're going to make products that are going to be good for the environment, you know, be as cost effective as we can, and that we're going to provide an employment opportunity for you know the Northwoods of Wisconsin.
Mm.
I feel like we have the availability to pull from the workforce in the Northwoods, that we can employ some good hard workers.
Mhm.
I think it'll be exciting to see who we bring in. You never know who's going to come in and who's going to make a difference, and I hope that maybe my example of making this transition into a different career will pull other people from, hey, maybe it's time to try something different and do something new and have some fun doing it.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because I think many people who haven't worked in manufacturing don't have the right impression of it, right? Or have a misimpression. Did you like before you came to CNG, what was your impression
Uh,
of what manufacturing
My
is?
brother is in manufacturing, so he
Mhm.
works for Green Bay Packaging in Wausau.
Okay.
So they manufacture corrugated cardboard. Um, I don't know if I really had a lot of preconceived notions about it. I just knew that just from what I had heard, in the area that before CNG transition from the shift work to now where we have the static shifts now, I that was a big thing that drew me in because I knew I was going to see my family on a regular basis. At least it was a constant schedule that we could plan as much as we could, um, just to have family events and things like that. But um, I felt like it was still eye opening, to walk in the plant for the first time and see, how many flights of stairs that we do on a regular basis. I look at my watch at the end of the day, and I told my wife I did 25 flights of stairs today, and she looks at me like,
Wow.
"Holy
Yeah.
cats!" Um, but I feel like I get a workout every day when I go to work. I feel like I've done something, and I'm starving by the end of the day, so I feel like I've done something, and and I feel accomplished. So what I really like about just the atmosphere itself is I don't feel stressed out. I go to work. I'm there to do a good job. It's a team environment, but it's also, an individual environment where, I'm gonna make sure that I do the best work that I can, and I wanna put out a good quality product. Um, if there are issues, I'm gonna go to help
Mhm.
and make sure that whatever I do in that 12-hour shift is the best that I can very do.
So let's change course a little bit and get a little more away from work. I want to find out more about you, Shane, and like who inspires you or what inspires you?
I would say my family. My family does. I wanna provide, uh, for my wife and my children. Uh my wife was and still is a generous provider for our family. She was out of the uh, education side of things a little sooner than I was, so she graduated uh, a year and a half before I did. So she was working, going full time while I was still finishing college. Um, and then, with our our children that we have, I want to make sure that they have every opportunity to enjoy life as a kid, first
Hmm.
of all, so that they can, uh, you know, not feel the struggles that I mean, we all have
Hmm.
our budgets that we have to follow and make sure that we, don't overspend and do all that. But I just also want them to, learn to, you know, what a safe environment is, what kind of home life that they want to have, when they look for their future spouse and want to have their future family. Just be the leader that they need to have. I think, like mentioned before, I'd say that religion plays a big role in who I am and what inspires me. That I want to be uh, that example in the community. Um, that be involved in my where my kids go to school. Help you know s- facilitate their extracurricular activities. So at some point, I hope to be involved in their sports. Uh, I always enjoyed where growing up, my dad was always on the opposite side of the field. When playing soccer, I couldn't always hear the coach on that side of things, but I could always hear my dad on the other side, calling out, "Hey, there's an opponent coming this way," or, someone's coming up, and um, I just want to be there that for my kids, my wife, and uh, be the man that they need me to be.
Mm. It's really cool, and I'm sure you are.
Thanks.
At this point, let's give you an opportunity to ask me some questions. Any question you want to ask me, Shane?
Um, where are you from?
Where am I from? Well, I was born in Mishawaka, Indiana.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is Mishawaka. And it's a neighboring city of South Bend. South Bend is where Notre Dame is. When I was young, 5 years old, my family moved to Michigan,
Okay.
and I spent most of my life in Western Michigan. I went to high school in Zeeland, Michigan, and then I had my children. I went to college in Holland, Michigan. Then we moved to Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
And then in 2006, we moved to Wisconsin. And
Okay.
that's when I started with Appleton Paper, which eventually was sold, or the division I was running was sold to private equity. And that was the precursor of C&G.
Okay. Um, as far as Wisconsin, are we Packer fan, or where do we where do we draw
Yes,
the line
actually,
there?
people think I'm a Lions fan because I spent so much of
Sure.
my life in Michigan, but yes, my husband and I are both Packer fans. And when I lived up in Appleton, which for plus years I lived up in Appleton, that's just 20-30 minutes
Yeah.
from Green Bay. So I had the opportunity to go to a lot of Green Bay Packer home games when I lived up in that area, and that's so much fun. I mean, the tailgating there is just an
It
experience.
is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what's not exciting about going to a football game when it's 10 below 0 outside?
Yeah, I know. I know. It's fun. And if you're dressed for it.
Well,
The first time when we lived in Michigan, my husband and I came over. This is when I was interviewing for the job,
mhm.
and we decided last minute we bought some tickets and went to the game, and we were dressed like in just like leather coat, like with, jeans, like not at all for the weather. We, unfortunately, like in the bathrooms there, they have the heating areas.
Yep.
So I spent half the game in the bathroom in front of the heater. So it was so cold. But now I know what to wear.
Well, there's a few good weekends of football, in
Yeah.
September.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But
In September.
yeah,
Exactly. All right. Well, Shane Kozlaric, you inspire me. It's been a pleasure getting to know you a bit better today.
thank you.
Thank you for being a guest on my podcast.
I'm can't wait to come back.
All right. Thank you.